Hey friends, today's Trials of Osiris map is the Cauldron, which is a close quarters map. The game mode is of course Dominion, which means that you do have to get active and participate in fights pretty quickly. I would describe today's meta more as a poke meta, where people are holding setups, using healing and whatnot to sort of win by attrition and eventually dealing enough damage for a final blow. And that's where Tarrabah fits perfectly. Since you know your opponents aren't going to leave the zone, you can pretty much poke for free damage, and even if you're not getting the kill, you're eventually working towards the Ravenous Beast perk, which can not only drastically improve your time to kill, but allow you to go for almost exclusive body shots for a 0.47 body shot time to kill. It's worth noting that today's PvP with update 7.3.5, body shot damage was severely reduced, so you have to aim for the head more. But Tarrabah perk doesn't really care about that, which makes it even more valuable. On top of that, they added a new reload animation for the Ravenous Beast perk, which is faster to activate. While Tarrabah does fine against a poke strategy, if the opponents are deathballing with sidearms, submachine guns, etc., you will struggle to win a duel because compared to other SMGs, Tarrabah's effective range is about 20 meters, which is superior to sidearms, but it loses to sidearms' time to kill. Drang, for example, has a time to kill of 0.6, Heliocentric has a time to kill of 0.67, and SMGs with slight damage boosters, maybe a res-gated target lock, can do 0.67. So although target lock was nerfed, it's still a consideration that Tarrabah has to play around. And don't even get me started on Last Word. I'm not sure if it's a bug or not, but currently Last Word will not kill in 3 headshots against 10 resilience. If this is ever updated, then I can imagine that Tarrabah will have a terrible time against the Last Word. Regardless, never consider Tarrabah a dueling weapon. It is just something you pull out if you're an SMG player against a poke strategy. So now this brings us to suggested builds. Obviously, Peacekeeper Titan is still my #1 recommendation because of what it does for the gun. Tarrabah has a base 40 handling. With Peacekeepers, it goes up to 90. It's very close to 100. With Tarrabah, though, you're not really swapping weapons that much, so 90 is more than good enough. We're really just using Peacekeepers for the strafe speed to stay alive better with Tarrabah, but I would argue that things like Wormhusk on Hunter, maybe Ophidian Aspects on a Dawnblade, maybe you play Weavewalk on Strand Warlock, etc. to survive to live to see the Tarrabah perk, even if you're giving up the weapon feel that Peacekeepers improve. Obviously, Tarrabah stops being a recommendation when supers are frequent, but on a map like Cauldron, you will rarely see a super come into play, so you don't necessarily have to have conditional finality attached to your body. The final thing to mention about Tarrabah is it is a solar weapon, which means it does get to use the artifact perk Flint Striker, which gives you Radiant for hitting mostly headshots or something like that. I don't typically use the artifact, but I think I might have to change that for competitive spaces, where anytime I'm playing the first weekend reset of Trials, or just the competitive playlist in general, unfortunately it has to be on. This is sort of a side tangent, but I'm surprised that it's still active in PvP in general, and not just some side playlist where it's just active for fun, like Mayhem or something like that. Overall, I hate the artifact, but it is in the game and I have to consider it when doing these meta reviews, because the heliocentric sidearm maintains its regular time to kill of 0.67 against Overshield Barricade Titans with Precision Instrument perk. So you're getting Radiant as you're getting Precision Instrument ramping up, which means that you just maintain your 0.67, and that is an extreme advantage over Tarrabah, considering you can still use conditional finality with heliocentric. It's also a lightweight sidearm. Sidearms are faster at strafing than SMGs anyway, so you don't even need Peacekeepers, which means you can use something entirely different. Moving on, what weapon to pair with Tarrabah? I don't recommend double primary because you typically want to keep Tarrabah out to build up the perk, so what I do recommend is a Discord weapon, and there's not too many in the kinetic slot. There's obviously the Iron Banner Shotgun, the Iron Banner Fusion, as well as a couple craftable snipers that do feature Discord, but they don't have Discord and Snapshot at the same time. That being said, if you really want to be picky about your ammo, you can still use them. It's still a really good recommendation to help curb the special ammo system, work around it. Closing notes, I think Tarrabah is a potent option for a close quarters map, but not necessarily a one-size-fits-all win button for the rest of PvP. That being said, historically it is one of my highest win rate weapons, because I can solo carry way better with this weapon because I'm typically the last alive anyway, since my teammates don't shoot anything. If you end up taking Tarrabah for a spin on Cauldron, let me know what you think in the comments section below. I will see y'all in the next one.